Good morning, good morning. Having technical difficulties. I'm doing a podcast. All right, we got it together. I'm doing a podcast for social media for social change. Today is April 30th, 2020. Kwasi Mfume is the congressman for the 7th District. Kwasi Mfume is the congressman for the 7th District. Today is Throwback Thursdays. This is Society Shame on Anchor Broadcast. You can follow this broadcast on Anchor FM, Anchor Podcast. If you have a computer, you can see audio. If you have a Facebook, you can see it live. I'm doing these broadcasts like the Underground and the Underground Railroad. I established the Underground in 1997. It's a business. It's a business entity. I own all parts of Shorty. All right. These episodes can be seen on Society Shame. If you Facebook Society Shame, you can also see them on Facebook, and you can also get repeat podcasts. This is my 16th podcast. And what this is all about is about Baltimore. You got politicians telling you that, but you don't never get the people in the streets telling you the truth. Today's Throwback Thursday. And for this is for all the people that don't know me, don't know nothing about me, but been getting bits and pieces of my life. Throwback Thursday. I started my organization, my business in 1997 called Shorty's Underground Ribs. It was on Falls Road. It was a business, a barbecue business. Poulet Chicken is there now. I started with Buddy Feldman. The Feldman family. He had that little, like I say, Throwback Thursday. 1997, they had a little gambling spot out there on Falls and Joppa Road. It was a little eatery. Stuart Feldman and Buddy Feldman ran that shit. In Baltimore City, Baltimore County, police knew about it. It's Throwback Thursday. We're going to tell the truth and shame the devil. I wasn't a part of the gambling. I was strictly the cook. All I did there was cook. This is about Baltimore County and Baltimore's county corruption. Because, see, y'all always on Baltimore City, but y'all don't never go after Baltimore County. Baltimore County's corruption is protected from the Baltimore County Police Department. The Officer Chief Johnson and Sheriff Fisher. All right? Chief Johnson and Sheriff Fisher been protecting Baltimore County since I've been knowing about it. And I've been knowing Sheriff Fisher since 2004. I campaigned for Sheriff Fisher. All right? So everything I'm telling you about Throwback Thursdays is throwing back into the past so we can bring this shit to an end. Now, I got a picture the other day from Nancy Werner. It's Miss Hazel's. Miss Hazel used to work for me on Falls Road. Miss Hazel worked at Buddy Feldman's store at Green Spring Station. And then I got Miss Hazel to work for me on Falls Road in Padonia when I opened up on Falls and Padonia. I've been doing barbecue since 1997. I'm on the Beltway Gourmet, the best of Baltimore. I'm in the Baltimore's magazine twice. I'm in Style magazine once. I'm on 98 Rock. I've been on 92Q. I work for Karen. I work for Fox 45. I work for WJZ. And I originally started with Frank Ski from 92Q. I worked for the Big Fat Morning Show. I did parties for Antonio Freeman from the Green Bay Packers. I did parties for, countless individuals. John Jewelers. I work for 85% of the richest people in the state. This is a throwback. All right? So when I was living out there on Falls Road, working on Falls Road, it was Shorty's Country Ridge store. And at Shorty's Country Ridge store, we was making a movie and a documentary about race and racism in America. And we was doing it with food and a conversation because I owned the lunch counters. Miss Hazel worked for me. Miss Hazel was my cashier. And everybody thought Miss Hazel owned the store. But she didn't. Miss Hazel was like my mother. She was a motherly figure to me. It's like driving Miss Daisy. Now, you can go to YouTube and look at the videos, and you'll see Miss Hazel, the toilet, and the conversation about making this movie and this documentary. This movie and documentary was about the Democratic Party. It was all about immigration. It was about health care. It was about a lot of issues that affect the community, but y'all always talk about us and you never talk to us. So I gave us a chance to talk to you. That's what the toilet was for. It was an instrument of peace. I was going to change shit to sugar using social media and social change. MySpace, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And we got it all documented. Now, you can go to the Facebook page from 2009 when I started this. You can go to the Baltimore Journal in 1990, 2003, I think the Baltimore Journal did a story about me when I was at Falls Road in Joppa, and I was Shorty's final days. My final days didn't last long because I went from Falls and Joppa Road to Ridge Country Store on Green Spring and Ridge Road. This Throwback Thursday. So we're going to throw back some balls at y'all. I was working for Stuart Weinstein. Stuart Weinstein was got locked up in 2004 or 2003 for offshore gambling. Because see, a lot in Baltimore County, y'all do a lot of illegal things, but y'all don't never get checked. The feds check y'all. You also got a lot of groweries out there, because that's where you got your medical marijuana fields out there in Hereford, Maryland. If I didn't know this, I know this because I'm a caterer. Everything goes up and down Falls Road, go through my store. The politicians, the judges, the lawyers. I cater for y'all. I do your backyard barbecues. I do your graduations. I do your marriages. I do your bar mitzvahs. Yeah, I do your bachelor's parties. I do a lot of things because food and conversation creates those equations. This Throwback Thursday. We started doing this toilet stuff in 2006. We put this toilet in front of the door. You come in the store, to the right of the door there was a toilet. No, to the right of the door was a stove, and then there was a toilet. You could talk shit with Shorty. And we did a couple of videos. But in 2007, in October 2007, Jake Davis fired. Jake Davis had his own place over on Eastern Avenue. Frank, the bail bondsman, had a store over there, and he let Jake do his barbecue, but Jake, it didn't work. Jake came back, tore my grill up, told him he was fired, didn't want no part of him. Then Miss Hazel had a stroke. So I was running the store by myself. And I was doing the videos, and I was showing honesty, how you work in the community. And we were doing stories in the community. We were doing movies in the community. We were showing about being black and white America in my store. Like I said, I owned the lunch counters. Miss Hazel was my cashier. It was like Woolworth 2020. Now you can go to Richard Sher, and he'll get you the first story on me on Hard Look. Richard Sher did it. They did the Beltway Gourmet. 98 Rock did a little series with me. I did the first cooking show with WBAL. Stan Stovall, Tom Tesler, his father. All right. Mary Mubala, Vic Carter, Kai Jackson. This is a throwback because I don't understand about what we don't understand. Because that first story was about me in the prison industry. It was about mass incarceration. It was about my advocacy. Contact Richard Sher. Contact WJZ. They did the first story. You feel me? Nobody never stand up for prisoners and inmates, but y'all always want to send somebody to jail. Y'all talk about the guns, the gangs, and the violence, but y'all don't know when to talk about the root of the violence. The root of the violence is the war on drugs. Now, when I was out there on Falls Road, you'd had just as many heroin addicts in the county as you did in the city. But you only send black people to jail. Timothy Allen Edwards used to work at Sunoco. At the right across the street from me. And he seen me grow. He never said nothing wrong. I got a lot of people that'll stand up for me, but they didn't know what you did to me. And then when y'all put these stories in the paper about me in 2007, 2008, 2011, y'all tainted my mission. Because see, I got 4,500 people to sign the petition to have my case investigated. I got a case filed with the Department of Justice in Illinois and in Maryland, in Washington, D.C. I'm administrative assistant to the engineering officer in the U.S.S. Mississippi. I was making a movie and a documentary about the war on drugs, the conception, the way it affects the communities, and which communities it does and doesn't affect. Then we was talking about the laws. And the way to do it is through the courts. Now, me being a caterer, I done been in judges, lawyers, politicians' house. I cooked for Baltimore City delegate. I cooked for Baltimore City women's black judges. I did a party for the judge to live off of Charles Street in that gated community, right off of Northern Parkway. Then I did a party for David Irwin. He did a party for 45 judges for the state of Maryland because David Irwin sits on the board that elects the Supreme Court judges for the state of Maryland. Ivan Bates know me. Brian Frost knows me when he was Senator Frost. Bobby Zirkin and Bobby Zirkin's law firm know me. Judge Turnbull's law firm. I worked for y'all. I never signed a confidentiality report. That means that anything I say, you can take me to court for libel or defamation of character, but I take you to court and show you I ain't lying. I got the videos, the master copies of the things I've been doing since 2006. I got the videos. Governor O'Malley. I got the videos. Ed Norris. Jane Miller. I got the originals, uncut, unedited. When I contacted you, who I contacted you, the laws that you broke. Y'all want to throw Brandon Scott underneath the bus? I told y'all about Brandon Scott 10 years ago, about his corruption and the money he was getting off of Governor O'Malley's mom machine. I told you about the gun task force in 2010. Told you about the police robbing drug dealers in 2006 when y'all did the Stop Snitching video. I work for the police department. I work for the FOP. You're my clients. And I don't have to candy coat nothing. I work by David Smith's house over in Ivy Hill Lane. I work for Ben Cardin's, Dr. Cardin's anesthesiologist, Dr. Davis, lives on Falls Road. Senator Kelly lives on. David Irwin lives on Greenlee. I know where your kids go to school. Smythe Jeweler's daughter graduated from St. Paul's Girls' School, and I did her graduation. I know the Smythe and the Smythe family. I know Ed Hale and his father and his son. This documentary and this movie is about Baltimore and Baltimore's, the other side of Baltimore's corruption, the money behind the Governor O'Malley's machine. This Throwback Thursdays. And I'm just throwing you back in time. Anything that I say, you can find in the Department of Justice hands, case number 2911907. You can go to the office of Judge Bennett in the federal courthouse and his clerk, David Kamenetz. Throwback Thursday means that I don't want nothing to happen to me. This is a throwback because I like movies. So I made this movie. It's called The Art of Getting Money. Dwayne Davis versus the state of Maryland. Now, if y'all look at the movie The Sting and the movie Harlem Nights, that's pretty much what this is all about. I made a social scientific statement. I made a hypothesis about corruption. And my hypothesis was proven to be correct. It was damned if you do, damned if you don't. The significance of my case, and we're going to throw back Thursdays, is state of Illinois versus Dwayne Davis. I turned in guns and drugs to the police to end the war on drugs in 1986. That's the same year that Kwasi Mfume voted to end the war on drugs. Kwasi Mfume and me, that's where our paths crossed. He voted for the Bill Clinton bill. I was against it. And I showed you the deprivation in the community that we're going to bring. I showed the guns, the drugs, and the power of the guns and the drugs. I showed the violence behind the war on drugs. You ended prohibition in 1930s, 1920s because you was killing white people. You was killing Jews. You was killing the Beverly Hillbillies, the Hatfields and the McCoys over that moonshine, that illegal substance. But everybody liked that juke joint. You liked the Cotton Club. You like throwing them back. You like that gin and juice. And Jack Kennedy got rich off that shit and created a dynasty. Now you got Robt. The war on drugs ain't no different than the war on alcohol. And that was my point. I was pointing out the politicians that getting paid off it. Like when Jack Kennedy was paying off them politicians that made his son president. You can contact Miss Kennedy Towson, Governor O'Malley's lieutenant governor back in the day, Kathleen Kennedy Towson. Me and her had this conversation about her daddy. She came to my restaurant. No, she came to the farmer's market. And I told her I was doing this documentary. Ozzie Newsome was there too. And Ozzie Newsome know me. Ozzie Newsome like grilled turkey, smoked turkey off the grill and ribs. I give Ozzie Newsome a 3 racks. That's until y'all called me a terrorist. Now Kathleen Kennedy Thompson, she liked my chicken breast sandwiches. And she took pictures and all that. And I turned her face when I told her about her history and her family. You know what I'm saying? It's that blood curse. True power is a powerful thing. And when you stand behind your truth and you don't fall to adversity when things go against you, that means that you're a powerful person. I don't do what I do for money. I do it because it needs to be done. I do it because I made a promise. I made a promise to Miss Hazel. I made a promise to Corrine Davis. I made a promise to my kids. And I made a promise to... I would never pick up guns and drugs again in my life. I would never pick them up to make money. I would never pick up guns to hurt nobody. I don't need to hurt you no more. Hurt people hurt people. I'm trying to help you. I'm helping you. I'm helping myself. Because I'm not a crab. If I uplift you, that means you're going to uplift somebody. I'm 60 years old. I'm on the downside of my mountain. Like Richard Pryor, which way is up? I got my direction together. Had it together from the beginning. I ain't changed nothing that I started. When I started this, it was about the war on drugs. When I started this, it was about Throwback Thursdays. When I started this, it was about the year. Because that's what's got us here. Had no more Martin Luther Kings, no more Malcolm X's, no more Medgar Evers. We're not going to have no more Black Panthers because of America. America tried to kill me. Tried to say I was crazy. I don't take no medication. I don't take no prescriptions. I smoke weed, drink Jack Daniels, and that's it. And that's all I've been doing all my life. I don't take shots. I sociably drink. Throwback Thursday means that you go back on days in the past. Now I said one mic, and all I need is one mic, and that's all I need is one mic. If I rule the world, I free all my black diamonds and pearls. And that's what I'm shooting for. I want to end the war on drugs, and I want to end mass incarceration. I came here Throwback Thursday, straight out of the Illinois Department of Corrections in June 13th of 1991. And I ain't been back to the Department of Corrections since. Came close 2 or 3 times, but I ain't going. I know how to defend myself. Throwback Thursdays. You can Google State Illinois versus Dwayne Davis. Google that shit. Read that whole case. Ain't a whole lot of people can do what I do. Ask Ivan Bates how much he would charge somebody, how much he would charge for that case. Ask Todd Yeary how much he would charge for that case. Yeah. Hassan Giordano, how much would Ivan Bates charge to represent me in the case? How much would, what? You ain't gonna represent me in that case because y'all want this war on drugs to continue because y'all eating off the same plate. In the war on drugs because you really don't care about the black community. That's the basis of white. Where do you think all that corruption come from? Pew didn't learn how to... Man, somebody had to teach you. I didn't learn what I learned, how to sell drugs, how to loan shark. I didn't learn that shit. It didn't come in no motherfucking school book. It came from the United States Navy. It came from my government. I learned how to steal from y'all because y'all taught me how to do that. During Iran-Contra, Throwback Thursdays. Iran-Contra, Throwback Thursdays. Iran-Contras, Throwback Thursdays, 1977, 1976, during the end of the Vietnam War, and y'all was switching over. Y'all was moving a lot of drugs out of Vietnam, out of the South, out of Afghanistan, out of Vietnam, Cambodia, and then y'all was mixing that shit in with that war in Nicaragua. Y'all was moving that Colombian shit, that Peruvian shit, and y'all sent that shit into the black communities. I knew that shit in the 70s, man. I participated with that shit in the 80s. And I quit. This was my retirement plan. This is my 401k. This is Throwback Thursdays. Y'all seen, please stop. Y'all seen Throwback Thursdays. Y'all seen the movie The Sting. Y'all seen. I couldn't do that without the help of other people. You feel me? I couldn't do that without the help of other people. When I came to Baltimore and I opened up Shorty's Underground, I gave people chances and opportunities. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never told nobody to go sell drugs. When I opened up my store, I gave you a job. I gave you a chance to become a business owner. I showed you what being a black entrepreneur was. And I did it in a white community. Because see, at the end of the day, it ain't about being black. It ain't about being white. It's about money. And money is green. And I showed you how to make money. Showed you how to save money. Throwback Thursdays. Remember the movie Superfly? When Superfly wanted to get out the game? He gave the police that envelope. When he gave them that envelope, that means he got out the game. And the material in that envelope, I gave to Shellenberger. I gave it to Marilyn Mosby. I gave it to Nick Mosby. The material in that envelope, I gave it to Brian Frost. David Mason was present when I was giving it to Broshini. Y'all have these public events, and I shut them down. I got a friend named Chevy. He used to work for me on Falls Road. Worked for me since he was a little boy. And he was like a son to me. And I treated him accordingly. And he grew up to be a strong young black. Planted seeds in the community, and my seeds have grown. Some of them fell by the wayside, but the ones that made it, I can proudly say I participated in their growth and development. Vernon Foster, Big House. You know what I'm saying? You can go see JoJo. Used to be on the corner down in Park Heights on what? Y'all know JoJo. Y'all know Cecil. Y'all remember the block parties we used to do back in 2008, 2009, 2010. Y'all remember them block parties, the originals. Throwback Thursdays. I was the grill master, the pit boss. Because food is a common denominator in the black community and the white community. Food don't care if you black or white, straight or gay. They like barbecue. They like hot dogs. They like hamburgers. You feel me? Food is what brings people together. I feed the homeless, and I call it my Jesus. Because when Jesus fed the multitude, he uses food. When he fed them that food, he got a chance to get his message out. When he got his message out, he got to grow and develop a community. Now we have Cathology. Let that one sink in. I don't do nothing for no reason. There's a method to my madness. So by me doing these podcasts, that's documenting my journey for justice. By me doing these podcasts, people that were on that journey, that were along that journey, get to speak and say that they were there. This ain't manufactured. This ain't bullshit. This ain't commercial. This is real life. This about standing up and manning up. This about leveling up. Throwback Thursdays. You got to go 2 steps backwards to take 1 step forward. So we got to look in our past to build on our future. I use Martin Luther King. I use Malcolm X. I use Nelson Mandela. I use Thurgood Marshall. I use Stephen Biko. I use Genghis Khan. I use Hannibal. And if you don't know who Hannibal is, Hannibal was a Moor. And Hannibal marched on Rome. Ask about Hannibal. Know your history. But in 2020, I'm going to give you Marcus Garvey. because I'm going to ask to give up my citizenship. President Trump said, if you don't like it here, you can leave. All the people that are incarcerated in America, if you are incarcerated in America, my prime objective, Throwback Thursdays. My main objective was to file a class action lawsuit about the war on drugs. If you've ever been incarcerated behind the war on drugs, we want to cut our fingers. Ancestry.com and ask to leave America. They got property in Libya, Ghana, and different parts of Africa that we can move to. They had the Jews that was in Egypt for 400 years, and God let the Jews go after 400 years. Throwback Thursdays. So let's throw back. Let's throw us back. Let's go back. Let's take that journey. A backwards middle passage. Let's throw back through time. Not just on Thursdays. Let's go back 400 years. Let's throw that ball that far back and see where we would be. Because we had our own religions. We had mathematicians. We had astronomy. We had scientists. We had physicians. We had culture. We had heritage. Throw back on that one. It's Throwback Thursdays for a reason. I'm going to throw it back further than you can catch. Catch that one. Water. Stay hydrated. Throwback Thursdays. I'm going to have to get me a podcast. I can't do this half an hour by myself. I need conversation. Just this coronavirus has got so much isolation that you just got to talk by yourself, and I don't want to rant and rave. That's why I'm only giving you 30 minutes, and I try to stay on subject. Throwback Thursday means that you go back on the blast in the past. Now, back in the day, we had Walt Disney, we had Animal Kingdom, we had TV, and we only had so many channels. TV was off at 10 o'clock, and all you had was a bzzz and the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, that was programming. Because every morning you woke up, you pledged allegiance to a country that didn't care about you. You feel me? You took an oath of office to a country that don't care about you. We talking about Throwback Thursdays? Right here. Convicts lawyers call confessions coerced. How many people have been locked up illegally, incarcerated because their confessions were coerced, manufactured? You had the Duke lacrosse team, Throwback Thursdays. The Duke lacrosse team, NAFON, Throwback Thursdays, and Scott Shellenberger. NAFON just picked the wrong go after. If those was black people, those black people would have been in jail like the Central Park Six. Throwback Thursdays, Central Park Six. Those black people was innocent. They didn't touch that white woman. Throwback Thursday, Emmett Till didn't do nothing but whistle, and y'all beat that man to death. Throwback Thursdays, don't forget what they done did to you. Lynching ain't just with a rope, dog. They lynch you now with the law. They hang you with the law. They send you to jail for 40 and 50 years like they lynched Keith Davis Jr. They gave Keith Davis Jr. 50 years for a crime he didn't commit. Kelly Davis is fighting for her husband, the father, to bring her family home. You got fatherless families, and Keith need to be with his. Throwback Thursdays. Been fighting his freedom for the last 5 years. And he's sick inside the jail, and y'all don't want to let him free. But y'all let those white individuals free because of the coronavirus. We talking about the prison industry and mass incarceration. Now the coronavirus is breaking out in the prison industry. But ain't nobody saying nothing about that. Y'all quiet as a church mouse on that. Throwback Thursdays. Kwasi Mfume created the prison industry. Kwasi Mfume created the prison industry with Bill Clinton. Kwasi Mfume's new job is the prison industry. He's oversight. Throwback Thursdays. Congressman Cummings got my whistleblower's application. On Monday morning, Kwasi Mfume got to deal with that. Now I done hit y'all with the emails already. I gave y'all the emails yesterday. Kwasi Mfume, your assistant, has it. Harry Spikes. Your Washington, D.C. office has it. Gene Wiskowski. Alright? So don't say that you ain't got it. We took pictures at Martin West. Throwback Thursdays. I took them pictures, and you need to ask Anthony McCarthy about me. Throwback Thursdays. I know the who's who in the Democratic Party. I know the who's who in the banking industry. And I know who been stealing from the black community. Throwback Thursdays. Mic check. We getting ready to shut this city down. We getting ready to break the Democratic Party down. Movie The Sting, the same way that they did Harlem Nights. No, I'm going to give you Operation Greylord. We're going to call it Operation Dominoes. We're going to watch them fall all in a row. Like dominoes, just like dominoes. And we're going to use that as the theme song. Mic check. That ends our broadcast. You can always replay it. Anchor FM. Society Shame. I'm going to name you and dare you to call me a liar.